Was it worth it? Was it worth checking out? Will I be going again? Have you ever had an idea that you're like 50% sure should not be done, like it's bad, you shouldn't attempt it, but you do it anyway? That's kind of what this video is. So, I love reading. I love sharing and collecting stories on this channel, and I also would like to join a book club. I have joined one book club before in my adulthood, but I just didn't like it because the people were generally annoying, and I feel like the focus was not really on the book. I feel like the focus was on socializing in a way that was very distracting and not enjoyable for the focus of the group. I've been wanting to join another book club ever since leaving my last book club, but I've just been really hesitant until last week. I was made aware of this one book club called Views from the Margin. I think the focus is like fiction and nonfiction, focused on marginalized voices. And as a marginalized, I think that the people in the group will take it serious enough to where I won't have the problem that I had in my first book club, but I don't know. Who knows? I don't.
So, I don't know a lot of things, but I do know if you could help me out by giving me a like or commenting a book club you've joined before, it would help out this channel so much, and I would appreciate it, and I would appreciate you.
I was made aware of this book club Wednesday. I picked the book up that same day because I got excited. And then I just didn't start it until Saturday. There was like no reason for that. But I just have bad time management skills. That's really what it is. I can't get the words out. I need to explain this later, but just know I am starting this book on Saturday at 5:45 p.m. This Wednesday is the meeting. And the book that we're reading is called Beautiful Country by Qian Wang. I have been eating this up. This is a memoir about this girl right here. Her name is Qian. This is her story of immigrating into America when she was 7 years old, and this is her documentation of the undocumented life and her journey being not only undocumented and living in that fear, but also being poor, living in Brooklyn, New York being like one of the toughest places to survive. I am hanging on to every single sentence that is said in here. As an immigrant myself, even though my situation is incredibly different as I did not immigrate with my family because they are Americans, I feel like there are so many through lines. Just if you are somebody that has entered the US and makes observations about the US that just really stand out to me about this, and oh my god, I'm loving it so much. And I'm also learning so much as well. I started this Saturday, of course, and I'm currently on page 135. That is with much focus. Oh my god. The book ends with 297 pages. Honestly, if the book club doesn't come with people who are focused and like really wanting to dive into this, I'm gonna be actually really disappointed, and I really don't want to. Sometimes, honestly, for the sake of like these videos, sometimes it can be fun to fail for the plot. Sometimes it can be like, okay, we'll just see where the video goes. If this is a disappointment, I don't want to be around to see it. Let's get back into the reading of this. Before I share my experience within the book club, I did want to share a couple of thoughts, kind of like an informal review of the book, because it was so phenomenal and left such a print on me that I'm even considering making a video titled like why you should read undocumented stories, just because I feel like in this climate it is so necessary for us to have empathy and dedication to understanding these types of perspectives, because I think lack of empathy leads to just bias and things and horrible behaviors that we have already seen. Okay, my initial thoughts and initial things I want to say about this. There is so much courage that is needed for a story like this, and I genuinely can't understand how the courage was mustered into beginning to not only write the words but share them with the whole entire world. Because this book is deeply traumatic. This is a story of her coming to the States when she was 7, being actively dehumanized as just a person trying to find out how to be accepted, not only in American society, but through her family as well, who also had incredible struggles just trying to survive as an impoverished people in Brooklyn. So many stories that are told in this, I feel like, really highlight all cultures have different ways that they view power, intelligence, success, and I feel like this specific perspective highlighted that, like, the through line for all of those things is money. Looking at the lack of it, unfortunately, I feel like really highlighted just how poorly people treated her and her family, and it was kind of a difficult read. Aside from the sadness and the trauma of it, there's so many moments in this book that are still sad but were kind of relatable. I think if you're somebody that has ever been impoverished or even just poor or an immigrant, you can relate to some of the things that she mentions that, like, I couldn't have the honesty to admit in a book, which are like lying out of when you don't have to lie. Like, she has to lie about her immigration status just to make sure that her family can live where she lives. But she lies about little things like her father's ethnicity at some points, her family's employment, things that would bring her proximity to success closer than what the reality is, just because it's, overcompensating for the shame that she feels. She had such a rough, difficult childhood, not only in being accepted from just regular American society, but then also within her family. There are some relationships that just felt inappropriate, emotionally immature, but she has such love for the people that are around her that it's very conflicting to read this story where you have your own feelings and you know that she has her own feelings, and those feelings that she has are out of love, and the feelings that you have as a reader are not. It's very interesting. If you were interested in this book at all, please check it out. It's 110% worth your time, worth the read. 10 out of 10 recommend.
I'm nervous.
Okay. Oh my god. I just got out. Was it worth it? Was it worth checking out? Yes. Yes, it was worth checking out. Will I be going again? No. No, I will not. So, I think that I've kind of covered the basis of, like, what the heck this book club was about.
Wow!
And what the book was on, and its description read as like highlighting marginalized voices and perspectives. As somebody who is a marginalized voice, and growing up, I like forced connection with people out of like survival and not out of like genuinely feeling a bond with people, I am like dying actually to hear from other marginalized voices and people, and to connect over things that I've just been that I've just really wanted. And so to connect over a book focused on somebody's undocumented life and to talk about the things that like I even have in common with this was so thrilling to me. I'm at the library. I'm like excited to go in. I open this door. The library moderator is there. She is kind and she's open. And I was like, how long have you been in this group? How long have you been working here? She's like, oh, I've been the moderator for blah, blah, blah. I've worked. Although she is kind, she is white. And listen, obviously, if you're on my channel, you know I don't have to say there's nothing wrong with being white. But when the book club is called Views from the Marginalized and it highlights marginalized voices, I'm looking for the marginalized. Another walks in. Is she marginalized? She's not. And you know what? Shame on me. I'm making assumptions. Just because they're white doesn't mean that they're not LGBTQIA. But... And then a fourth person walks in, they're not marginalized. I'm like, oh my god, oh no, I'm never gonna come here again. I had told myself going in, if there are no other marginalized voices, I don't want to be here. And it's not to say that there aren't valuable takes and educated takes from people who are non-marginalized. Okay, I sound ridiculous saying that. But I've spent a lot of my life in those spaces, like burying my discomfort, and also like being an adopted person, like being a Black adoptee in my majority white family. Just like dying for spaces with other people that I can connect to and relate to, and we can bond over this book that was so beautifully written. But I did not. I unfortunately just did not get it. And I was kind of like, okay, let me hold out hope. Like, maybe the discussion is going to be good, and maybe these are some people who are with it. The first question is like, what did you like about this book? And I start talking about how, like, this was an incredibly brave book because she writes with such honesty about things that are so incredibly scary and humiliating. I, as an immigrant, I don't have her experiences, but there's so many through lines. And the responses, like, they were not bad responses. They're not harmful responses, but they were just, one of the ladies starts talking, and she's like, this isn't one of my favorite immigrant books. One of my favorite immigrant books is this one written by an Indian fellow. It's like, we're talking about this book. The prompts were good from the moderator. They were, like, very thoughtful, but, like, the answers were just so, like, I just knew that I was carrying the group because I had the marginalized experience. And that's just not a cross I am gonna choose to bear again. That's not a cross I will choose to bear again. It's just hard, like, when you are marginalized, like, be the group representative. I don't want to do that anymore. And so I won't be doing it anymore. I hope that I could be in community, in groups with other people. It doesn't have to be just only marginalized people, but just like a couple, just like a couple. When that's like the group's like focus, that's like the selling point, I appreciate the fact that book club brought me the book. I loved the book Beautiful Country. I don't rate nonfiction, but oh my god, if I did, this would just be a 5 out of 5. Like, it was so good, and I can't wait to talk about it with other people. And maybe one day, if I start my own book club, it will be one of our first picks. Who the heck knows? I would die to start a book club, dude. Are you kidding? Let me know if you've joined a book club, or what the heck the deal is with you. Wherever you are, whoever you are, whatever you're doing, whatever time of day it is. I hope you have a valuable morning, afternoon, or night.